Dusty. Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're back out here on the pole barn project, and Rebecca's helping me today. We're trying to move most of our bigger tools into the pole barn. I got a building project that I want to build tomorrow, and I'd rather build it in here on this nice concrete floor. And then, so since the last time we guys showed you guys the pole barn, the gutters just got completed today. And we also have bought a bunch of stainless steel tables and sinks and stuff at different auctions for the kitchen area, the food prep area. So we still have a few more bigger items to move in here. And I'm going to go grab the tractor and go get those and move those in. And then I'll show you everything that's happened with the pole barn since the last video. Show you the stainless steel stuff we got, and then I'll show you all the woodworking tools and everything that we're laying out in here. So we got most of our big tools and equipment and stuff moved in here. I still don't have like our toolboxes and our small hand tools and stuff like that, but I think we got most of the big stuff moved in. So I want to take you back to our kitchen area back here. We got several items from auctions. We ended up, I think we bid on a total of 3 different auctions that we won some equipment for our little food prep area back here. So let me take you back there and show you, but keep in mind now, this stuff is used equipment from grocery stores and stuff going out of business. So some of it is dirty and it needs cleaned up and needs repaired. But overall, we got it at a way cheaper price than buying this stuff brand new. So this here is a 10-foot stainless steel sink. It's got 3 sink basins in it. It came with a couple water faucets. I don't know if these work or leak or anything, but overall I think that this was a really good thing to pick up at auction. Really nice sink. It's got water stains all over it. It needs a lot of TLC. It needs cleaned up. It needs polished up, but I think this is going to be a really nice sink basin once we get that done. The only thing that I know for sure is wrong with it is missing a foot down here on that leg, but that seems to be a threaded foot. So I think we can either make new feet for it fairly easily or replace the leg fairly easily. But this right here, yeah, I think this is going to work out great. So this here is a 7-foot stainless table. It has a nice backsplash on it. This has got like a 12-inch backsplash. It was used in a grocery store and it had meat slicers on here. And that's probably what we may do with it, use a meat slicer or a grinder or something on here. It does have shelving underneath, or one set of shelves underneath. Apparently it used to have some kind of sliding doors that aren't on it anymore, but I don't know if that really matters. At least that gives us a place to be able to store our equipment underneath. And I think this is going to be a great addition to this kitchen area. So this table here probably looks the worst, and it needs probably the most repairs. It's going to need some stainless welding done to it to try to fix it. But what this table is, this is actually a meat cutting table. These are 3/4 inch thick poly cutting boards, and these make the surface of this, and this is where you would do your butchering and cut up your pieces of meat. So they call this a poly top table. And obviously it needs a lot of cleaning, or it needs just brand new tops. But this backsplash is going to have to be repaired. There's some other stainless repairs that need made. And then this last cutting board down here, this one at the end, it's not even the right cutting board. So we are missing a cutting board for down here. So there's a lot of work to do to this table, but I think when it's all done and this is all nice and clean and nice bright and white poly boards here, you know, this is going to be a nice surface to be able to do all your cutting and butchering on top of this table. And this is the last table that we got. This is a 5-foot long table. It's got wheels underneath it. So this is like a mobile work surface. And then there's a couple of deep drawers in here, so you got some storage. So this here is a Hobart meat slicer. We picked this up at a grocery store auction. And we brought it home, we plugged it in, and this did not work. I did have to do a little bit of work to it. I got it running. And there's still a piece to replace inside of here that is for the thickness adjustment. The thickness adjustment is broken and it won't come up all the way. So once I get that fixed, I think this is going to work out just fine for us. Now there is another piece that's missing, and there should be a sharpener that fits on the top of here so you can sharpen this blade. And that sharpener is missing. That was not included with this. But I think that we'll figure out a way to be able to sharpen the blade manually, and I think that we'll be just fine. But overall, this is a nice commercial grade slicer. It's got a 12-inch tray on here, so it should be able to fit like a full slab of bacon on here and be able to slice bacon. So I think that this slicer is going to work out just fine after I get that last piece replaced. So I said in a previous video that we didn't end up putting windows in our garage doors, and we took the money that it would have cost to put windows in those and we put that towards something else. And what that ended up being is it ended up being that cupola on the top of the barn. That was the last task we were waiting for the builders to come back and do. and there was a little bit of trouble and delays getting that to show up because they had to order that, and it took several weeks for that to arrive. So they just put that up a couple weeks ago. That was something Rebecca had requested. She really wanted one of those on the barn. She thought it would give it a lot more character. And we ended up, you know, a lot of times people put some smaller cupolas on there. They may put like 2 or 3 up there. And we ended up decided that we would just put one up there, but we would put up one that was a little bit bigger. So that is a 4-foot cupola on the top of the barn. But I think overall with the size of the entire pole barn and everything, I think that it all looks good together, and it does give it a lot, I think it gives it a lot more character. I think she was right. So today, you know, the gutter guys did show up today, and man, they were quick. That's the seamless guttering. They formed that guttering, and that is one piece of guttering, that whole side. So there ended up being only 3 gutters that they put on for this side, that side, and the back side. And yeah, I think like 4 hours or something, these guys were done. And I think it looks really nice, black gutters to go with the trim. And you know, I mean, the dirt work is not done. Those gutters were important because the rain was running off. I'm glad to have the gutters. The rain was running off, and it was wanting to wash away all the dirt, all the fill that is here. Of course, we need a lot more dirt to bring in here and finally do all the grade. But I definitely didn't want it washing out any of the dirt from underneath the concrete. So it's good to have the gutters on there now, and that'll really stop any erosion that we were starting to have around the barn. That's going to help out quite a bit. And of course, Rebecca also wanted to make sure that we put a weather vane on top of the cupola, and we got black weather vane with a rooster on top. So I think it looks pretty good. So since the last video, I did have to do a couple things to fix my grounding. I did need to have 2 ground rods. So I got my original ground rod there, and then I've got a second ground rod back here, more than 6 feet away. And then I had to change the clamps that was on the ground rod. I had to get a direct bury clamp, one that was rated for being in the ground. And then I changed the wire because it has to be one continuous wire between both ground rods and then back up into the panel. So I've got that all done. So everything's grounded properly now, and I've started doing a little bit of wiring in the ceiling of the barn. So I have decided to go ahead and have the walls spray foam insulated. So I'm going to have them put 2 inches of spray foam on all the walls, and those guys are coming in the end of next week. So they said it would take them 2 days, and they would have all the walls spray insulated. So I've decided not to do any wiring in the walls until after they're done. So I've been focusing on the ceiling, and I've been putting some outlets in the ceiling. I put them up there so that I could hang retractable lights and retractable extension cords. So I've got a couple here in the garage area, and you can see from this outlet I've got a light and an extension cord, and then I think I've got 3 outlets in the ceiling in the back area with the workshop, and I've got at least 1 retractable back there. I'll have to pick up some more retractable extension cords some point in time, but right now I can at least pull that down. I can plug in my tools and use my tools that way. So one other thing I've been doing is I have played around with some lighting. I ordered a couple lights and I've tried them out, and I didn't really like them. They didn't have very good pattern, a lot of shadowing. They just didn't do very well. I didn't like them. So I've ordered some new lights, and I'm waiting for those to show up, and I'm trying those out, and hopefully they'll work out. But eventually I'll find the exact light that I want, and then we'll start putting our lighting in here and get it all lit up, because it's a little dark right now. But yeah, that's the other thing I'm working on. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what lights I want to hang. So let me give you a quick walk around of some of the tools that we moved in here into the woodworking shop. I've been very lucky that I have inherited most of my tools. Most of these were my grandfather's tools, and he wanted me to have them after he died. So this is my grandfather's old Delta drill press. This thing is heavy. This was the heaviest thing that we moved. Very top heavy too. A lot of weight at the top. But yeah, this is my drill press, an old Delta. I'm not exactly sure how old this thing is, but definitely built very heavy. So most of my grandfather's tools were Craftsman, and I think I've had these tools now for over 20 years that I've had them. So I'm not sure exactly how old all these are, but they're still running just fine. This is a 12-inch bandsaw, and then this is a 6-inch belt sander over here. So this is a 6-inch Craftsman joiner. This was my grandfather's also. And then this is a 10-inch Ryobi planer, and I bought this used. And hopefully one day I'm hoping to get a planer that's a lot bigger than this. So this table saw right here, I've got a lot of history with this saw. This was my dad's table saw. I grew up learning how to woodwork on this saw. Now later on, my dad ended up getting a nicer saw that has a cast iron top on it. And when he did, he actually gave me this saw. So like I said, I have been very lucky to somewhat inherit most of my tools, or else it would have cost a lot of money to get this many tools, that's for sure. So this here is my cheap Harbor Freight lathe. I think I got this for about $100, and I've had it for about 15 years. But I have made a ton of stuff on this lathe, and this is another thing I really want to upgrade. This is actually the thing that I enjoy using probably the most. I feel like the stuff I make on here is more like art than it is woodworking. So I do segmented wood turning, where I glue a bunch of pieces of wood together, and then you make a pattern with it, and then you turn it on the lathe and it into a bowl or a vase or something. And it's actually pretty cool. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So most of the stuff I make on a lathe I actually give away for Christmas or some type of gift. So I do have a few examples of stuff that I've made. So this here is just a plate. It's got a nice little star pattern in the middle. So this is maple. This is cherry. And then it's got a layer of walnut, and then back to maple, and then walnut. You glue all those pieces together and to make your pattern, and then you put it on a lathe and you turn it round. So this would have been more like some type of a octagon shape or polygon shape. It would have been a 12-sided disc before I put it on the lathe and turned it round. So this here is supposed to be like a floor vase. It's probably a little bit tall for a table because it's about 12 inches tall. I guess you could use it either way. So this is actually maple burl on top. You can see there's a little bit of imperfection. So this is maple burl. This is mahogany with a maple veneer in between each piece of wood. So you can see all the pieces of wood and the veneer in between. It's got a little bit of veneer at the bottom. And at the top, it's maybe a little bit hard. Got a different pattern. The wood's glued together in a different pattern at the top. But that is a nice little floor vase that I made. And you can glue these together as big or small as you want. Like this little piece right here, this is just something I played around with to make something small. Obviously, it's smaller than my hand, and you got a little pattern that goes around. But each one of these is a different, these are different pieces of wood glued together. And as small as this little vase here, there's probably 50, 60 pieces of wood in that little bitty vase right there. This is just another little vase to put on the table. Got mahogany in the middle, walnut, and then maple, and then walnut on the top and bottom. But you can see it's just the natural colors of the wood. This is an oil finish. So you use the color of the wood to make your color and pattern. And then this is probably one of my earlier bowls because it's a very simple pattern. It doesn't have like a zigzag or it's just a pretty simple pattern for the band around the middle. And this is only maple and cherry. There's just two colors of wood in here. But you can see all the little pieces of wood, how they're glued together. It's almost like bricks, right? How they're stacked and staggered. And then it's finished on the inside too. So you can see the band on the inside because it's solid wood and it's all finished on the inside. So this is a bowl that I've made, and I've made several of these types of pieces, and that's just the thing that I like to do, and I haven't been able to do that since we moved out here. In 2017, we packed everything up, and that lathe has pretty much been in storage ever since. So hopefully, later this year, I'll finally be able to get back into doing a little bit more of this woodworking and do some more stuff like this in my free time. So I probably did get a little off topic here at the end talking about the woodworking tools and woodworking, but that is one of the purposes of the pole barn. I want to get that workshop set back up again so that I can woodwork again. I haven't been able to do that stuff for like 4 years now, so it'd be nice to finally get everything all set back up where I can use it. So I did get a delivery today. I'm buying a few things for the garage area. So I am planning on buying a bigger toolbox to store my, hand tools and all the tools for the garage in. And then that box right there is actually a tool cart. It's like a 3-foot tool cart. It's got a couple drawers in it where I can put my main tools in there and then roll it around and work on tractors and cars. And that'll be like my mobile work cart to work off of. And then I'm also planning on buying like a workbench to put in there. So I am planning on buying like 3 new things to put in the garage area, plus a bunch of shelving. And I haven't bought that yet, but I am going to be putting all shelving on this side over here so that we can start storing stuff out here. But all that'll happen after the spray foam. So that's probably going to be the next thing on this series, will be the spray foam. The concrete guys called and they wanted to come the same day as the spray foam, and I ended up asking them if they could put it back another week. So hopefully the spray foam will get done, and then the following week they'll come and they'll pour this concrete apron in front, and then I think that's all the contractor work that I'm going to be paying for, and then the rest of it I should be doing myself. But yeah, not much has truly happened on the pole barn since the last video, except for the gutters. But hopefully here soon we'll get the foam, we'll get the concrete pad, and we'll be finally where I can, hopefully I can finally start getting some wiring and some lights in there and I start using this thing. So anyway, I think that's it for today's video. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
I know. I'll slide it in there later.